The NFL offseason has reached its peak speculation point, and right now, the biggest buzz isn't about the draft.
No, not at all. It's about a potential earthquake in the NFC.
We're tracking reports that suggest a blockbuster trade could, fundamentally change the Super Bowl outlook for the Dallas Cowboys.
And this isn't your usual fan chatter either. This rumor involves one of the best defensive players in the league moving between two NFC powerhouses.
Absolutely. Welcome back to the deep dive. Our mission today is to, move past the tweets and really get into the strategic and statistical reasons behind this proposed trade. We're analyzing sources that detail a scenario where the San Francisco 49ers star linebacker Fred Warner could be heading to Dallas.
And our sources pull together these intense financial and strategic calculations that are just swirling right now. So we have to figure out, is this a real championship-level strategy, or is it just the ultimate fantasy football trade?
We're going to cover the actual trade terms, the financial move Dallas would have to pull off, and maybe the biggest question of all. What kind of player is Fred Warner that he's worth this much, and why on earth would the 49ers even consider it?
We're really unpacking the so what for both teams here.
Yeah.
I mean, if this happens, it signals Dallas is all in right now. And for the 49ers, it's a massive bet on their future cap management.
Okay, let's just jump right into the core proposition, because the reported terms, they immediately catch your eye.
They really do.
The player, Fred Warner, is described as a maestro, a defensive quarterback. He basically runs that entire defense.
He's a foundational piece, which is why the rumored terms are so shocking to most people.
Right. So here's the exchange being discussed. The reports suggest the Cowboys would give up their first-round pick in 2026 and a second-round pick in 2027.
Wow.
In return, Dallas gets Fred Warner.
That is a hefty price tag. You're pushing the value way out into the future, but the immediate benefit for Dallas, it actually goes beyond just getting an elite player on the field.
And that's the financial twist we have to highlight. It seems contradictory, right? Securing a player like Warner and creating financial breathing room. Sources say this move would somehow free up around $24 million in cap space for the Cowboys.
And that financial engineering, that's the key that makes this whole thing viable. Because Warner carries such a big cap number, absorbing his contract lets Dallas move money around and free up that $24 million.
Which they could then immediately use on, the offensive line, young guys?
Exactly. Reallocate it to critical needs. Think bolstering that aging offensive line or locking up their young stars to extensions.
So they're trading future picks for an elite player today and generating cash to fix other weaknesses.
It's a high-wire act. It really is. It turns a steep cost, those two high picks, into a structural saving that lets them afford an all-pro without gutting their depth.
Okay, that structural advantage is huge, but let's shift to the field. Why is this player, Fred Warner, worth a first and a second, even with the cap savings? We need to decode his impact.
Well, what's fascinating is how perfectly his game matches what Dallas needs on defense. Warner is often, he's in the conversation with guys like Luke Kuechly, historically, in terms of his instincts.
That's high praise.
It is. He's the intelligence center of that defense.
Yeah.
He provides a stability that immediately turns the middle of the field into something completely different for opposing offenses.
He's known as a great coverage linebacker, which is so critical today.
Yeah.
Can you give us some specific metrics on that? Just how elite is he?
Absolutely. His versatility is it's unmatched. He reads plays and covers tight ends and running backs with the same ease. Look at the hard numbers. In 2025 alone, he allowed just a 54% completion percentage when he was targeted.
54%. That's excellent for a top cornerback, let alone a linebacker who's usually mismatched against a big tight end.
It's phenomenal.
Yeah.
And we can even quantify it with advanced metrics like EPA. His expected points added per target against tight ends is minus 0.21.
Okay, wait, hold on. For anyone listening who might not live and breathe EPA, can you break that down? What does a minus 0.21 actually mean on the field?
It means that every time an offense throws the ball to a tight end covered by Fred Warner, they are statistically losing points.
Wow.
He actively kills offensive drives when they challenge him. And on top of that, his ability to tackle immediately is shown by his YAC. His yards after catch allowed is just 2.7 yards per reception.
So he's not just stopping catches, he's ensuring that even when a pass is completed, it's stopped right there, dead in its tracks.
Exactly. And that reliability is highlighted by his missed tackle percentage. It's tiny, like around 3.6%. He just doesn't make mistakes.
So what about the big plays, the turnovers? Because that's what really separates the good from the truly great.
And that's where the numbers get, frankly, a little staggering for an off-ball linebacker.
Mhm.
In 2025 alone, 145 tackles, 6 interceptions, and 4 forced fumbles
Just last year.
just last year. And we can even use a stat called approximate contribution to put that in context.
Let's pause there for a quick definition. What does approximate contribution tell us about his interceptions?
It's a measure of how many interceptions a player is responsible for above what an average player at his position would get. Warner's is +7 over the last few seasons.
So he's creating 7 more turnovers than an average linebacker would in the same situations.
He consistently creates turnovers above expectation. He's not just getting lucky bounces. He's diagnosing the play and making it happen.
That's massive. And his overall grade, PFF and all that.
Consistently elite. His PFF grade is always hovering around 94.0, and for anyone who doesn't follow PFF, a 94 means you're talking about the top 1 or 2% of players at any position in the entire league. He's nearly perfect.
And he's not just a coverage guy.
No, not at all. His run-stopping grade is in the high 90s, too. He really has no weakness in his game.
Adding that kind of reliable, intelligent force next to a disruptor like Micah Parsons and a ball hawk like Trayvon Diggs, that would instantly make the Cowboys defense one of the most talented in the league.
For sure.
But if he's that good, with a 94 PFF grade and no weaknesses, this brings us to the biggest paradox here. Why in the world would the San Francisco 49ers trade him?
That is the critical question, isn't it? And the answer says so much about the economics of the modern NFL. Despite viewing Warner as a core piece, the 49ers are reportedly looking at this to free up a ton of cap space and get future draft picks.
So you have to look at the 49ers situation. Their recent past and their very expensive future.
Exactly. They were 8-8 last season. They had injuries. They were in a bit of a transition. And while Warner was great, the defense as a whole had a drop-off in one specific area. Their pass rush. They only had 37 sacks last year.
Which is well below the league average.
Way below. So the thinking is, Warner's amazing, but if you can't generate pressure up front, you need to reallocate your money to the defensive line.
Okay, that makes some sense. But there has to be more to it.
There is. And the biggest factor is their quarterback. They have to get a contract extension done for Brock Purdy, and that requires massive long-term cap management.
Yeah, there it is.
Extending a franchise quarterback means you have to sacrifice some high-priced veterans somewhere else on the roster. It's just the math of the NFL.
So trading Warner, as painful as it would be for their defense right now, makes strategic sense if they can lock in those future high draft picks, that 2026 first and the 2027 second.
They're essentially sacrificing 1 year of elite stability for, 5 years of financial flexibility and cheap, young talent from the draft. It's all long-term play.
For the Cowboys, though, this move is the exact opposite. It's a clear statement.
A declaration of intent. Their goal is winning the title now.
Yeah, this isn't about slow, incremental growth. This is about turning a defense that's been solid but, inconsistent at times into a truly dominant unit. It's the definition of going all in.
And it sends an aggressive message to every single team in the NFC.
So let's turn to those broader implications. This is about more than just one player. It's about shifting the whole title landscape. How much would this trade really move the needle for the Cowboys?
Oh, dramatically. The sources project a huge increase in their Super Bowl LXI chances. We can actually quantify it using the current betting odds.
All right, give us the numbers, before and after.
Okay, so right now, the Cowboys' odds are sitting around plus 1,600. That puts them in that, high middle tier of contenders.
Okay.
With Warner, those odds are projected to plummet to around plus 850.
Whoa, that is a massive shift. We're talking about nearly a 50% increase in their perceived title chances.
Exactly. And that market response isn't just about a big name. It's about the tangible defensive improvements we've been talking about. The impact is a lot like what we saw with the Bears when they got Roquan Smith. A single elite linebacker made them a serious playoff team overnight.
And that value is just magnified in the playoffs, right? When you're facing elite offenses that live in that short and intermediate passing game.
Absolutely. Think about a high-pressure game against the Eagles or, ironically, the 49ers. Warner's specific skill set, neutralizing short passes, that incredibly low EPA against tight ends, that's exactly what you need to get a stop in advance.
He's the guy who gets you that stop on 3rd and 6 in the fourth quarter.
He's the single player most likely to do it, yeah. This move defines their current window as championship or bust.
It's undeniably aggressive, and the price is steep, but the projected payoff, it's just massive.
It's a bold move, but it makes them an instant favorite in the NFC.
This has been a fascinating look into a rumor that could genuinely reshape the entire conference. We've covered the immense value Warner
Yeah.
brings,
That elite coverage, the minus 0.21 EPA.
a huge turnover rate with that +7 approximate contribution, and of course the structural advantage of $24 million in cap savings.
And we've balanced that against the very steep price, a future first and a future second. It perfectly illustrates what it costs to get immediate excellence in this league.
So what does this all mean for you listening? This deep dive shows that trades like this aren't just about shuffling stars around, they're monumental strategic shifts. Dallas would be signaling they're ready to mortgage the near future for a title right now, while San Francisco is choosing future flexibility over present-day stability.
Which leaves us with a really important question hanging over this whole thing. Given the 49ers need to pay Brock Purdy and fix a defensive line that was below average, is losing a perennial All-Pro like Fred Warner an acceptable long-term cost for that cap relief and draft flexibility? Or does it signal a premature end to their championship window, sacrificing the heart of your defense to save some money? That's what we'll all be watching next.